Welcome to 23 Degrees Sideways. I'm going to be doing two videos, I think, out here tonight. I'm in the middle of the desert in the middle of December at night, recording with parking lot lights. This is kind of going to be an odd set of videos, but it's a crazy time, you know, and a lot of crazy stuff going on. I am near Death Valley. Of course, I'm not in Death Valley because there's no way I'm going to cross into the California side at this point. And it's really weird to me that I'm living in a world where I really won't cross into California. Not without some major duress. And I don't actually think it's legal for me to cross into California. I think there's some sort of quarantine mandate, something or another, you know, even if I'm just going to a national park, which of course is probably closed because going outside is bad for some reason. I mean, you know, I'm watching the signs come back up here in December with, you know, they've rolled out a couple of vaccines, one of which has like a 7.5% stage 4 response rate, which is, if you don't know what that means, it means that when you combine the stage 3 in with that, it means that 10% of the people who take this particular vaccine, it's not the Pfizer one, it's the other one, have a hospitalized, life-threatening reaction. 10%. 7.5% are stage 4, which is like ICU level, and then you've got more in stage 3, and that's you know, stage 5 is actual death, and they're not going to report on that for obvious reasons. It's a little bizarre. We're in a really weird place, but while this is happening, of course, the very states that I'm traveling through are talking about, you know, stay home to prevent the spread. Stay home, stay home. Don't go outside. Don't get vitamin D. Don't exercise. And it's a little weird. On the one hand, you're watching people do this, and I'm watching people who behave as if they are sick follow these mandates. And, you know, I was down in Scottsdale yesterday, you know, walking a park that I grew up with, you know, showing some people my old stomping grounds, you know. And it's a little different than it was. The city is much denser. There's much more population around, and it causes some things to be a little different. One of which is that the main park also has a fairly extensive arrangement of disc golf courses, just kind of built into the park. So it's like you have to walk through the disc golf if you're walking on the regular path, which is fine. I'm not particularly worried, but it's just a little odd that there's no space management, because there are some other spaces in the park that are wider and less narrow. It's a greenbelt park. I walk through there, and, you know, there's people walking around shirtless in December, getting tans, playing disc golf, healthy, no masks to be found anywhere with the disc golf crowd. And it's a really interesting parallel universe sort of situation. You can literally watch people in the same park, or out here in Nevada, in the same little town. Okay, this isn't really a town, it's kind of a wide spot. It's 2 gas stations and a VFW with some hotels. It's a German gas stop in the summer for tourism. But you can watch the people, the difference in the people, and you can actually feel the difference. Like, people, it's not a weight difference, okay? It's not necessarily that, you know, people think that you're fat. That's the big thing in America right now. You're fat or you're not. Obesity is everything. It's really not. Your cardiovascular health risks are higher with stress and depression than they are with purely just a weight basis. If it's just weight and there's not a stress factor involved, your cardiovascular risk is very low. So is your COVID risk. as far as I can tell, looking at actual data, and that brings up lived experience. You'll talk to medical professionals who will say that I'm denying their lived experience. Well, lived experience is anecdotal data. And if I present something different, they're going to say it's just anecdotes. Anecdotes is my lived experience that disagrees with theirs. So mine's not scientific, but theirs is. It's lived experience is a very interesting little phrase. And what it means is that I've observed anecdotes and I have emotional attachment to them. I've been observing, gathering data. I have sat down with notebooks and watched people and counted. I'm trying to tabulate here, and people who act healthy are healthy. People who are doing outdoor activities. Not everyone down in Havasu, when I was walking the lake, the channel, not everyone was skinny. Although I would say that the overall body shape averages match what you would expect with people who do morning walks in the desert in winter. There were plenty of people who were overweight, and but they're outside in the sunlight, walking without mess. They're not getting sick. It's a really interesting thing that we have this programmed reality, and there's two parallel realities running around, and they're very different, but they are in fact different. This set of people is getting sick, having virus problems, spreading the virus, controlling the virus, masks, social distancing, stay at home, close everything, lockdown, fear. They really are getting sick. How much of that is stress from the fear? I don't know. How much of that is lack of decent air and body movement because they're staying inside? I had a friend this spring who never recovered fully from whatever they had. There was no testing at the time, but she and her husband had something they thought was coronavirus, but there's no testing. There's no antibody testing. You still can't just go get that. But they never recovered. But they used less than a tank of gas in a Honda, like 500-mile range car, in the valley, the Valley of the Sun, Phoenix area, over the course of 2 months. Windows closed, doors closed, don't go outside, in a house with animals. And they never recovered fully from whatever they had, which could have just been a simple cold, because they're stuck inside. You can't be healthy living in a cave without moving around. You can't. It's bizarre, So we're dealing with parallel realities, and they're very different, but they're very real. The people who are doing this to themselves, the institutionalized agoraphobia, the fear of going outside, the fear of being around other people, the fear of talking to other people, they have a sick reality, but they really are sick. They're not faking it. What the factors are, I can't tell you. I can't tell if it's just a lack of vitamin D, just a lack of exercise, just a lack of social contact, just the stress involved, just the fear, just the depression. I think it's all of those put together, but I don't know. I can't say it's this. And then on the other side, you have people who are out living. They're, in a lot of ways, you have a certain population that is doing more than they used to. Partly, it's escapism. Instead of wallowing in stress, because shit is really weird in the world right now, they're outside playing. I've been driving around the countryside like mad since March. Okay, my way of avoiding lockdowns is to just drive to ever increasingly more rural, out of the way places and do stuff. It's weird. It's definitely a reaction. This isn't entirely a rational basis drive for a purpose. I'm taking off. But the people who are doing this stuff are healthy. They may not be skinny. They may not be. They may have comorbidities. You know, there may be a lot of things. You know, I have 80% lung function, whatever. But the health aspect, the movement, bodies move. Bodies that don't move can't be healthy. Continuous movement, exposure to the sunlight, getting outside, not being stuck with indoor air. This all matters. And I think there's really two parallel universes running side by side. It's a little freaky. Philosophically, it's a little freaky. But as people get more scared and more twisted and more tied up in this, they get more... they don't have anything but fear, and they don't have anything important in their life because nothing is happening in life. So they get more and more attached to drama. Okay, and you have these ideas that's where you get into cancel culture and social. It's not social justice, but the games of social justice. And people get in this game, and it's all they have that's important. And it's a little freaky, you know? But we're out here, two parallel universes. And here I am in the middle of the night, 40 degrees outside in the desert. You know, I was watching Jupiter and Saturn with the moon. It was pretty cool, nice sunset. And I'm feeling, it's not post-apocalyptic, but I definitely feel like I'm on some sort of edge of society right now. Like, there's a fracture, and I don't know how many people are choosing. I don't know how many people are constitutionally, and I mean internal, your constitution of your psyche, constitutionally able to handle freedom right now. Don't know where that's going. It's kind of interesting. Well, you know, the rise of the shamans is back with us again. I think that there's a valuable place in society for that, and it's probably going to be necessary as we move forward. I don't know which way we're going, but it's going to be forward. Stay sideways. I'll ramble at you again in a few minutes.